Hello everyone and welcome to Canteen Cup. My name is Scott. Hope everybody's doing well today. Just kind of resting and recuperating today. Yesterday was a busy day for me. I worked pretty hard and my poor back is talking back to me, so I'm taking it easy. Plus today's my Sabbath, so I'm just doing some things I like to do versus things I want to do or have to do. So today I want to talk about knives and kind of review one or two of them and some of the things I found out. Now, through most of my life, I've carried a knife. I got my first pocket knife when I was 6 years old, and I've had hundreds since then. I've had sheath knives, pocket knives, lock blades, you name it. I've pretty much had at least one type of it. However, what I've discovered is that through most of my life, the knife that I use the most, or the knife that you are more than likely to see on my person, is a folding knife, either a slip joint or a lock blade. And that's the way it's been. Even when I was in the Army, the majority of the time, if I was cutting something, it was with a pocket knife, like a Swiss Army. I had a Swiss Army knife Farmer, a Victorinox Farmer, or I had for a while I had a Buck Ranger with the plastic handles. I lost that knife and I really missed that. I need to get another one, but those are the knives I normally carried. So today, again, I want to talk about knives and kind of what I use, and especially around the farm, because working around the farm is a little different than just walking down the street. Now, a knife I carried for many, many years is this, a Buck Folding Hunter. This one's got a little assist thing that you can screw on it. But I've carried one of these for years, and it's a good knife. It still is. This is a recent purchase. However, yesterday I was out applying lime and fertilizer, and that amounted to somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 bags of either lime or fertilizer that I had to cut open and dump into my spreader. And the knife that I used was this knife. This is a Spyderco, and it is a Paramilitary 2, and I use it to cut all 70 bags, and I'll show you my sheath in a minute, but I really like this knife, and let me tell you why. There's a couple reasons. One, it's got nice steel, and it held its edge really well. Even at the end of the day, it was a little dull near the tip, but I put it on my sharpening steel for about 30 seconds, and now it's back to being razor sharp. But what I liked about it was, besides it's a great length for cutting the bags, I would just stick it through and cut it. At the end of the day, it was pretty dirty, and all I did is I ran it under my kitchen sink. And what I liked about it, if you could see this, is there's no back. So there's no slip joint. It's just open like this, and that made cleaning really, really easy. I just stuck it under there, washed it both sides, and then I took it out and I made sure that my action wasn't gritty. If I really needed to, I can take this apart and clean it, but that's all I had to do. I just ran it under and boom, it was done. The other thing I liked about it is these things normally have a clip, so you can clip it inside your pocket, but I don't like it inside my pocket because it's too wide this way. When I put it in my pocket, it seems to take up half the space in my pocket. I can't get much else in there. So I made a little sheath for it, and it just resides like that, just like a lot of other knives. It doesn't come out, and this is one of the things I liked about this. And it was easy for me to grab. I could just reach over here, grab it, and pull it. Now, the really great feature is a lot of times when I'm working on my property and I'm on my tractor, I'm hauling, picking up, I'm wearing gloves. And with this knife, because of the way I have my sheath, I can just pick it up real easy, and then boom, look at that, with gloves on. And that's important, because you might, but I don't want to have to take my glove off every time I want to use my knife. And that was a world where typically sheath knives shined, because you can pull them out and use them and put them back in the sheath. But with this knife, because of that big handle, I can pop it and then I can close it, again wearing my gloves. And that's important, because again, when I'm working out on my property, I'm almost all the time wearing gloves. And these gloves I really, really like. They're made by Carhartt. They're Carhartt leather gloves. These are about probably a little over a year old, maybe close to 2 years old. They get a lot of use, and they're still holding up really, really well. These are the best gloves that I found that don't fall apart. And so I like them a lot, and I just recently bought another couple pairs of Carhartt gloves to keep tucked away for future use. But these have been the best gloves that I have used, working in the environment I'm working in. Now, is that Spyderco the only knife that can open with one hand wearing gloves? No, I did find a couple others. This is another knife I like. This is a Benchmade bug out, and it has a lot of the same features, except this one will fit in my pocket well. And a lot of times if I'm going to town, or if I'm carrying a weapon concealed, I'll carry this knife instead. And this one too, while not as good, I can still open it and I can close it with this. In addition, this one also is hollow, so it's very easy to clean, and it can come apart. So those are two knives I like. Those are one of the 3 knives that I am typically carrying today. Is either the Spyderco, the Benchmade, and I have another knife, a Case medium jack, or they call it a Texas jack. It's a 2-bladed knife, and I carry that in my pocket. I like that one too, because I just like slip joints. And so those are the 3 that I normally carry on a day-to-day basis. I have carried this knife. This is a Swiss Army knife. I think it's a Trekker. And again, this one is pretty good. You can open it up, and you can close it wearing gloves. And then just for grins, I brought out my buck. Again, I carried this knife for a long time, but this one here, you can open it up with this little nub. I got this off Amazon. It's just something that screws on it, friction fit. And so you can open and close this one with gloves too. This knife is probably two to three times heavy as this knife, and it's about half again as heavy as my Spyderco. Big difference in weight. This is brass, of course, and so it's a lot heavier knife, but it is an old standby, and I do like them. I do like them a lot. I still carry this occasionally. It's just an old friend. All right, so that's all. I just wanted to share a little bit of the stuff that goes on at my homestead and some of the things I discover. I hope you find this informative. I hope you guys appreciate some of the things I do. Anyhow, that's really it. And so if you're looking for a knife that you have to use wearing gloves, and that's, it could be winter time too if you're not, working the land, it's nice to know you have a knife that you can open up even with gloves on. So that's all I have for this video. Everybody stay safe and stay secure, and we'll see you out there.